Australia is still in the red and deeper in it than originally forecast. This year's deficit will be just under $50 billion, $8 billion worse than Treasury estimated 6 months ago. The blowout's been caused by the financial crisis hitting tax receipts and natural disasters hitting Queensland and Japan. The budget will still be in deficit next year and then return to surplus as promised in 2012-13. That's the number and the year the Treasurer is focused on. To a large extent, he's delivering one budget but selling a future one.
Now, we've charted the course back to surplus in 2012-13 on track, on time and as promised.
Getting back in black obviously means savings, and this budget promises $22 billion worth of them. Defence is a huge target. It's losing $2.5 billion, significantly more than leaked last week, while $1 billion will be cut from the public service. Ken Henry might be gone as Treasury Secretary, but he's not forgotten. A dozen of the changes he recommended in his tax review have finally been adopted. Stay-at-home spouses aged under 40 will no longer get a tax break. The saving there, $750 million. The government will reap a similar amount by ending income tax splitting between parents and children. Fringe benefits tax rules for company cars will be tightened, while family payments won't be increased to match inflation for several more years, saving $2 billion.
We have made some tough calls in this budget, and I think we'll pay a bit of a political price for those. But returning the budget to surplus is the right thing to do.
But that doesn't mean there's a freeze on spending, and there's one worthy recipient. 1/3 of Australians will suffer a mental illness at some point, and after years of inaction, the government says it's got a prescription for reform. It's promising more than $2 billion for suicide prevention, coordinated care, personal helpers, and other frontline mental health services. The country's terms of trade are at 140-year highs, as Australia rides on the miners' backs. But there's one resource that isn't plentiful: skilled workers. Wayne Swan's proposing a two-pronged response: more training and higher participation. The centrepiece is the National Workforce Development Fund, which promises 130,000 training places for key industries, especially mining. A series of tough love measures will encourage people off welfare and into work. Single parents, the long-term unemployed, young people and the disabled will be targeted. If you're on a disability support pension, for example, you'll face a new definition of incapacity and requirements to look for work before getting the pension. At the same time, employers will also be offered more wage subsidies to encourage